Welcome back to Matt's workshop. This is part 2 of recycling pallets to make a coffee table, and the tabletop has been clamped together for about 8 hours. I'm just undoing all the clamps here. I'm just hoping that the tabletop doesn't fall apart. I'm moving the sacrifice pieces there. I'll just get all the clamps out of the way, and then we'll give you a bit of a close-up of the tabletop. So that should polish up really nice. And the next step in the process is just to figure out which side you want to be the top. This side here has a few chips and some of the nail holes. It's probably a bit more than the other side. This one definitely has a few nail holes, but less chips. A bit of a gap there. Some of the boards didn't close up, so that's where it's now time to get out the putty, fill up some of those imperfections, and then start the sanding. So the putty I'm using to fill these gaps, I'm just using Timbermate. It's a water-based wood filler. I'm using 2 different colours just to try matching up a bit, using pine and teak. Sometimes it's better to use a darker putty than the timber you're using, especially in like knot areas and things like that. But if it's in a clear area, then I'll try to use the pine, which is nice and clear. And then I'll be just using a palm sander. It is quite a great little sander from Azito, Australian tool company, and yeah, it's been a fantastic little unit. Haven't upgraded to a random orbital yet. I did have one and it decided to kick the bucket, but that was just a super cheap one. So let's get into it. So I've done the puttying. It's doesn't look all that pretty, but once that colour lightens, I can start to sand it. Take some of those bigger lumps off. Just makes for easier sanding. I haven't puttied along these edges yet. I will be cutting these with the circular saw, nice and straight. And then if any of those gaps need a bit of filler, I'll do it then. But I have paid attention to some of the smaller gaps on the side. I did randomise some of the colours, especially with some of the larger holes, making them a little bit darker. It is a So there we have it. The rough sanding's all done. I'm just going to now trim the edges. I'm going to set up my circular saw with a jig, just a small jig I made just to help me cut straight. And there's a little bit of sanding to do on the final edges, and then I'll give it a once over with a 240 grit sandpaper, make it nice and smooth, and then we'll give it a coat. So we'll give it a coat of something. I haven't quite decided. I think I might just use a polyurethane, a clear a clear satin finish. Yeah, so that's how it's coming along. It's looking pretty good, and I'll set that jig up now and cut the edges nice and straight. So as you can see here, some of the edges where the boards joined are not quite right, and I'm not the best videoer, so I'll just do a manual focus here. So yeah, the only problem with using the circular saw is that I may get some split out, and that's going to be seen mostly on the bottom. But all the joints are nicely, there wasn't too many. There's a knot there I didn't want, but can't help some of it. Anyway, we'll go from there. Here I'm just going to square up where I want to cut with the circular saw. I'm going to mount it onto the bench. I'm going to fast forward this bit because it's a little bit boring, but I'm going to use the Azito power saw with a jig I made, which will help me cut the line straight. Nothing worse than a wandering circular saw on a piece like this, so I'm going to mount it onto the bench, just using a block each side, and then screw the jig down onto that block. That way I've got no fixture into the tabletop itself, which means I don't have to fill any holes. I could clamp it, but I find that the clamps get in the way of the power lead as well as the circular saw motor itself. So this is the best way that I've found to do this. If you've got any questions on how I made the jig, again, just make a comment below and I'd be happy to answer any questions or give you more information. So now all that's left is just to sand down the edges. There's a couple of little spots that I had to refill, so I've done that, and then we'll go on to making the legs. Yeah, I've just ripped apart another pallet. These long pieces are going to be used to form part of the legs. The other part of the legs I'm going to use some leftover timber that I've got in the shed because I don't quite have enough of this. So anyway, I need to clean this up, so I'll run it through the planer. Haven't gone into a lot of detail on how I made these legs, but hopefully from these quick videos that I put together at the end you'll get an idea. Just marking out where I'm going to drill the holes for the dowels, setting the depth on my doweling drill, and just drilling those, and using some tap points, I suppose, with sharp ends on them, which you'll see here. I use that to mark the space, that the holes where they're going to go on the other ends, on the matching pieces. So then drill all those four sides, glue them all together and clamp them, and then give it a good sand, fill any imperfections that I want to get rid of. Some of those nail holes at the top, they won't be seen, so I probably won't bother about those ones. And then flip it upside down, mark out where I want to screw it down on my tabletop, and screw it down and give it a coat of something. Again, still a bit undecided. The last one I did in a clear satin finish. This will probably end up the same, but I'm just going to clamp this for a few hours and attach it to the tabletop, and hopefully you'll see that very soon. Only about 3 seconds. So thanks for coming to have a look at Matt's workshop. This project has been fun. This is the recycled pallets made into a coffee table. It's been a fun project. There's been a lot of different tools used. If you have any questions, don't forget to make a comment below. Ask the question, I'm happy to answer them. And don't forget to come back soon. I'll have another project up shortly. But this is the coffee table, just ready for a coat of paint. I think I'm going to settle on a satin finish similar to the last one I did, and stay tuned and I'll give you a quick video on where it's going to sit and how it fits in with the decor, so it's quite nice. So thanks for stopping by. Again, don't forget to press like and subscribe. Cheers.